Ask Me Nicely from Second Wave Summer
by Tria.
Ringo de Dios had a question to ask. He always did. This wasn't new. Ringo had a brain that ran faster than any driving I'd done in the trafficless streets of Makati past midnight, egged on by an 80s rock anthem and one too many bottles of beer. His brain wasn't reckless like that, though, and neither was my driving since I crossed into my 30s, I might add. His brain operated on functioning levers and blueprints and work plans. It was a sound, beautiful, overworking mind. I loved it. I was in love with this man and his beautiful, overworking mind.
Backstage, what to meet who again?
Was the question he asked now. It wasn't at all what I'd been dodging. This question was cute, and I was expecting it. I'd been fielding quite a few like it in the past 5+ months we've been together. It was one of my favorite things to do. A backstage pass, I said, brushing the stubble on his chin with my knuckles, to meet Train Man. I was trying to be cool when I said it, which was pointless. Ringo was there to witness me squeal like a pig on death row when I won the tickets off a radio show contest last month. 2 free tickets to Summer Crush Music Festival, inclusive of backstage passes to meet Train Man, the headlining band. The reason why now, at 2 a.m. on a Saturday, Ringo and I were out of bed and on our way to Surf Town, La Union, where there was sand, music, bagnet, and bronzed abs aplenty. I died a little inside when I won, I swear.
Ah, that band with a surly-looking guitarist.
Ringo said, clapping his hands once for effect, dark eyes rounding.
The guy whose lips curl and eyebrows meet when he sings the chorus like it makes him angry? Why does he need to do that, I wonder?
Because he's Kim, the band leader, and he is sexy and he knows it. I slapped Ringo's arm as I said it, which was cue for laughter, his and mine. Of course, Ringo knew about Train Man. On our first date, I learned that despite being 25, aka 7 years younger than me, the guy knew nothing about music enjoyed by most kids, people his age. He knew virtually nothing about music, despite having a cool mother who named him after the most chill Beatle. So I made sure to commence his indie rock and roll education ASAP. He had aced it, of course, as he was programmed to do. An offshoot of this, though, was that teasing me about my rock star crush was now one of his hobbies.
Who's sexy?
Ringo had stopped laughing. The spark remained in his eyes, but it hinted at danger now. My heart jumped inside my chest and my lips parted. First to give him a smile, next to accept his kiss. Ringo's kiss was slow and deliberate, mouth weighing against my mouth, claiming, tasting. Tip of his tongue stroking the corners of my lips, teasing, while his strong hand cradled the back of my head. Fingers buried in my long, thick curls, kneading down to my nape and up again, melting everything away. Awareness included, and propriety. Our suspended moment broke with a screech of rubber against road. The bus braked, lurched forward, taking us passengers with it, jerking most of the rows awake. It must have been a goat or a horse crossing the road. Dawn was hours away from breaking, and it was dark and cool outside, sheets of fog visible through the grimy windows. Soon the bus was back to its rolling stroll on the pavement. Our fellow passengers were groaning and folding back to sleep around us, and I was reminded that Ringo and I were not exactly in the best place for melt-the-world-away kisses. There are people, I shushed the man whose lips were toying with my earlobe.
Who is sexy?
His tongue grazed the shell of my ear. I shivered from the blast of pine-scented air above us and the shot of heat from my navel. We're in a bus.
Whose idea was that?
Ringo chuckled, but he eased off and leaned back. He tugged at the thick cotton of my hoodie and tucked it around me, zipping it all the way up under my chin.
I wanted to drive you.
I buried myself inside my jacket as he pulled the hood up and over my head. This is your first music festival. You need the full experience. And it starts with a long trip on a midnight bus.
I'm not complaining. I am asking who's sexy.
Dark eyebrows up and wiggling, ripe lips curved in a smirk bearing my final warning. My boyfriend is sexy, I whispered in a rush, Should he dare attack me with his demanding kisses again while we were in this packed public transport vehicle, surrounded by half-asleep, full-on, snoring travelers. And apparently requires validation. I met his mouth with mine anyway, quick and firm before sinking back against my seat. Ringo let out a quiet laugh, self-satisfied and triumphant. The brat. I leaned my cheek back on his shoulder, looped one arm around his, closed my eyes, and waited for sleep that was slow to come. He went back to going through his overlarge backpack for the nth time since we boarded the bus. Saying things we were up to before he broke our silence with his question.
It's my first music festival. I'm very excited.
I smiled. I know.
I can't wait to meet Train Man 2, for the record.
Ringo said. We had watched the band perform in enough bars in the city to turn him into a fan. I consider this one of my greatest life accomplishments, turning this music ambivalent man into an earphone owner and regular gig goer.
I would like to ask Mr. Kim about that lip curling thing he does and let him know it turns my girlfriend on.
That's it. I am deserting you on this bus. A short, deep laugh. Warm lips on the top of my hoodie.
Hey, tita.
Tita. What you call an older office mate out of familiar respect, or your mother's friends and sisters as you press their hands to your forehead. He started calling me this the day we first met on the train. The impudent child. He hasn't stopped since. And right now, and in all the days to follow, with the way he said the word like it was mine and just for me, I didn't really want him to. Yes, kid. I kept my eyes closed for a beat longer, knowing what I would see in his when I flicked them open. I breathed in, lifted my head, and met his gaze. True enough, it was there, in those endless dark pools framed by unfairly long, thick lashes. The question, the words earnest, itching to be asked out loud. I knew what he was reading in mine. A corner of his beautiful mouth lifted, the weight in his eyes shifting with his next blink. I felt a short sigh.
How hot does it get on the sand?
He asked instead. The usual scorching temperatures. I sat up, clutching my hands closer to my stomach. I held back a sigh of my own. Give or take a few degrees. Thank you, global warming. You know how it is with beaches.
I don't really. I've never been to the beach.
I counted 4 seconds. 5, 10, 20. Ringo did not take it back. He was still looking at me, those eyes, big, honest, and childlike, waiting for a resolution to his question. Here was a 25-year-old man with a great corporate job and paid vacation leaves and a car, at the very least, access to long-distance buses, born and raised and living in tropical Philippines, and he was telling me he had never set foot on sand to worship the sun. I shifted in my seat so I could better look at him, my hand landing hard on his shoulder. I think I need to break up with you. Ask Me Nicely from Second Wave Summer.
By J.E. Tria.